On the morning of Thursday, October 15, 1987, Thomas Sankara, the charismatic and visionary leader of Burkina Faso, found himself at a critical juncture. The revolution he had passionately led was faltering under the weight of internal divisions. Valère Sommet, a close confidant, had joined him at the presidential residence to discuss the growing tensions within the leadership of the CNR. The strains between him and his once close ally and friend, Blaise Compaoré, had become a source of deep concern. Later that afternoon, he attended a scheduled meeting with a small team of advisors at the old Conseil de l'Entente headquarters, a building that had long served as a nerve center for the CNR's operations. At about 4:15 p.m., the meeting commenced. However, within a mere 15 minutes, there was a sudden change in the atmosphere as sounds of gunfire suddenly erupted in the courtyard outside. Sankara's driver and two of his loyal bodyguards had been gunned down. Upon hearing this, everyone in the meeting room got on their knees and took cover. The air was thick with tension. The revolution was under attack. Then, in a moment of profound bravery, Sankara stood up. He was calm amidst the panic. Urging his comrades to remain inside, he spoke, "It's me they want." Stepping out of the room, his hands raised in a gesture of surrender, he confronted the attackers head-on, but there was no mercy to be found. The gunman opened fire, riddling his body with bullets. Sankara died on the spot. If his exit from the room was intended to save his comrades inside, it failed, as shortly after, all but one of the ministers present were killed on the spot. The question remains, who was Thomas Sankara, and why was he killed? In the modest town of Yako, Upper Volta, Thomas Noel Isidore Ouedraogo was born on December 21, 1949. His origins were as complex as the land he would one day lead. Thomas was born into the Silmi Masi, a socially marginalized group with both Masi and Pole ancestry. His father, Joseph Sankara, a World War II veteran, had adopted the Masi name Ouedraogo to align with the chief of Tema. His mother, Marguerite Kinda, was Masi by birth. The family name Sankara was only reclaimed during Thomas's teenage years. Growing up in Gawa, a town in the southwest, Thomas's childhood was marked by the final days of French colonial rule in Upper Volta. The French had violently subjugated the region in the late 19th century, taking years to suppress rebellions from various ethnic groups, including the Masi. However, by the time Thomas was 11, the winds of change were blowing through Upper Volta. As the country neared its independence from France in 1960, Thomas and his friends staged their own symbolic ceremony, lowering the French flag and raising the new nation's colors. This innocent act of defiance led to a clash between European and African boys, foreshadowing the resistance that would characterize Thomas's future. The young Sankara was a diligent student, excelling in math and French, and was deeply involved in religious activities. The local priests, impressed by his zeal, urged him to join the seminary. However, Thomas chose a different path. He passed the entrance exam for the state secondary school in Bobo-Dioulasso, a decision that would prove pivotal in his life. As Thomas pursued his education, Upper Volta was unraveling politically. The country's first president, Maurice Yamigo, had reluctantly led the nation to independence. Yamigo's rise to power was marked by reluctance as he took on the mantle of leadership more out of obligation